Record. All right, we're back, everyone. We're going to continue the video we were showing you on the shared screen before. The Katy Perry Dark Horse video decoded.
Going to the Tonight Show, but he's the fallen one that we've been talking about coming back. You guys got that? Speaking of Jimmy Fallon, he just had Rick Ross on his show last night, which was singing "The Devil Is a Lie," which sounded a lot like "The Devil Is Alive" while he was singing it. It took a while to understand what he was saying. But if he is saying the devil is a lie, why is he throwing up the horns? The album is called Mastermind, with the mind being flipped backwards in pink and white. If we look at the lyrics, they're kind of strange. But he says, "The devil is a lie, bitch, I'm the truth. The devil is a lie, bitch, I'm the proof. The devil is a lie, the devil is a lie, bitch, I'm alive. The devil is a lie." But I found that very interesting that they chose that song to be sung on Jimmy Fallon. Speaking of the devil.
A lie, alive. So yeah, if you say it enough times fast, "the devil is a lie" sounds like the devil is alive. So that's what I'm trying to say. The V is your fifth age female. So
the rest of this video gets pretty complex, and I'm going to try to break it down as best I can from what I understand about the Egyptian stuff. What I see with these two blue men is the representation of the female power taking over man. In the Sumerian text, the blue represents the female power. We see the wired helmet on top of the man's head with the snake coming out, which would represent the devil controlling man. Sumerians called the devil a female, which would work perfectly with that because she is controlling the male. We see his belt as red and white, which represents Turkey, aka where they talk about the Antichrist coming back up, aka the Pharaoh. That's the name on their belt. The chains being around the man's neck, meaning that he is being bound. Another representation of the Sumerian text could be towards Enki. The reason I say this is because the blue reminds me of the water. We started this video out on the water. We have a representation of Enki being bound by the female, or in a sense, acting like Enki. And who was Enki? Enki, Sumerian, is a god in Sumerian mythology, later known as Ea in the Akkadian and Babylonian mythology. He was the deity of crafts, mischief, water, seawater, lake water, intelligence, and creation. He was associated with the southern band of constellations called Ea. In Sumeria, Ea means the house of water. Now let me show you how all this is connected. People who talk about the Bible on these things, you got to realize that there was originally a Father, Son, and Holy Ghost before there was a Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And the original God that people talk about in the Bible was named Anu. In Sumerian mythology, Anu, also An from Sumerian, An equals sky heaven, was a sky god, the god of heaven, lord of constellations, king of gods, spirits, and demons, and dwelt in the highest heavenly regions. It was believed that he had the power to judge those who had committed crimes, and that he had created the stars as soldiers to destroy the wicked. He was one of the oldest gods in the Sumerian pantheon, and part of the triad, including Enlil, god of the air, and Enki, god of water, Father, Son, Holy Ghost. He was called Anu by later Akkadians in Babylonian culture by virtue of being the...
Yeah, just want to stop here. None of us here believe in a Trinity. Trinity is a pagan idea and is not supported by the scriptures. The set-apart spirit was never separate by Yahuah. Set-apart spirit is the Father himself. It's never been a separate entity. In the Tanakh, you will never find a set-apart spirit as a separate person from the Father. So there's only two people in heaven, the Father and the Son. So this is another thing I disagree with him. Just putting a disclaimer out.
The first figure in a triad consists of Anu, Enlil, and Enki. And that's where I got Enki from, because Enki was the god of water. So we see these guys representing the female, water, birthing, taking control, all that just within this. And you see these guys as the slaves throughout the whole video to Katy Perry. we see the patch over the eye. Now, this is strange to me because I think of Nimrod, but the thing is, people say, no, this is Horus, which is true. But here's where our mixing of the stories all come in because of the story of Horus. If we look, the eye of Horus looks like this. Horus was an ancient Egyptian sky god who was usually depicted as a falcon. You'll see the falcon a lot. The bird also can be Ba, most likely a lanner or a peregrine falcon. His right eye was associated with the sun god Ra. The eye symbol represents the marking around the eye of the falcon, including the teardrop, sometimes found below the eye. The mirror image or left eye sometimes represents the moon Jahidi or Thoth. Speaking of moon gods, I find it interesting how the Tonight Show's logo went from a crescent moon, which we've already talked about being Turkey, to a full moon with Jimmy Fallon. In the myth, when Set and Horus were fighting for the throne after Osiris' death, Set gouged out Horus's left eye. Who else do we know that has a left eye that was gouged out? Would that be Nimrod right here? It's the mirror image. Same thing, but there's a lot to this. Horus's left eye was gouged out. Nimrod's left eye was gouged out. See where I'm going with this? There's so many things that are intermingled and mixed. The mirror image, Nimrod. In a quick effort to kind of show you why I say Horus and Nimrod are almost exactly the same story, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. Osiris is the father of Horus. Nimrod was the father of Tammuz, which could technically be the second Nimrod. They have almost an exact backstory, which could be connected with the Virgin Mary and Jesus also. Why? Because of the women in their life. Osiris was the crook and the flail, a god of the earth and vegetation. He represented death and rebirth. He was also married to his sister Isis. Somebody asked, why was the word Isis in all caps in a Super Bowl commercial, or was like a little blip or something that they saw, and they asked why that was being represented. Here's your answer. Isis is the mother of Horus, which she was married to Osiris, which was her brother. As the wife of Osiris, Isis assisted her husband during his earthly reign. In the pyramid text, allusions are made that indicate that Isis foresaw her husband's murder. They say that he was torn apart, just like the original Nimrod was torn apart. Through her magic, she brought Osiris back to life so that he could impregnate her with their son Horus. Let's look at Semiramis. According to the historian Eusebius, Semiramis was a wife of Nimrod. According to various legends, Semiramis became pregnant after engaging in an adulterous affair while married to Nimrod. Around the same time, Nimrod dies a violent and untimely death, just like Osiris. In an effort to retain power and to hide her misdeeds, Semiramis makes an audacious claim. She publicly declares upon Nimrod's death he had been resurrected as the god of the sun. As the sun god, Nimrod used his rays to miraculously inseminate Semiramis with a child. This child was thus considered to be divinely conceived. Just like Osiris, he was killed brutally, resurrected, and then all of a sudden there was a divine child. Who else had a divine child?
And I'll say this. This is how the devil deceives people. He knew that the Son of the Almighty, Yahusha, would resurrect from the dead and that he was going to be born of a virgin, okay? Satan could not stop that from happening. He could not stop from the Basora from happening. So what does he do? He creates a counterfeit. He creates something that would cause people to doubt the Basora of Yahusha, doubt the virgin birth, which many of our brothers and sisters are being led astray and thinking that the virgin birth is pagan or something. So Satan, in my opinion, he created a counterfeit with Nimrod and Tammuz.
And of course, his came first.
Yeah, he always does that. He puts it first so that people see it first and they fall for the deception before the real thing comes. He always does that. Same thing's going to happen in tribulation. So.
Yes. The anti-Messiah comes first, guys.
Yep, the
Don't be deceived.
You know, just as Daniel said, Yahusha said, all the authors of the scriptures, the prophets, warn us of the abomination and desolation that will take place before Yahusha even returns. So the anti-Messiah, the false Messiah, will be in that physical third temple appearing in Jerusalem. So this has always been Satan's plan. Counterfeit first before the real thing, so people fall for the counterfeit before they even get a chance to accept the real thing. That's his strategy. That's the Nakash's strategy.
Bible and all this, was it Mary? The child's name was Tammuz, which aka Nimrod number 2, which he claimed was a reincarnated Nimrod. Thus, Semiramis was both Nimrod's wife and mother. However, the image of a mother holding her child is pervasive throughout nearly every culture throughout history. This gives some credence to the importance of Semiramis and her place in history. But do you guys see how all this can be connected? Because it originally comes from the first story and then it's changed over and over and over. But there's so many names and the story has changed so many times because of the Tower of Babel. And when the languages were scattered, that's when everything started getting basically the same as the telephone game. And I'm going to add this weird little tidbit in, and I find it weird because Katy Perry's video came out about 5 days ago, and that's actually when I started doing the screenshots, everything else, and I got to the point of Semiramis about 2 days ago, and then I completely lost interest in doing this for a little bit because I was trying to figure out all the stuff that I just talked about. Weirdly enough, here a day ago on the 24th, Harold Ramis died. Alchemist of Comedy dies at 69. Here's our two numbers, which would equal 15, which would go back to 6. He also died on a day that equals 6.
Okay, some more Saturn stuff here he's talking about. Let me just see if there's anything
I've
else.
been doing this on Semiramis, trying to figure out her stuff, stopped, and then Harold Ramis dies on the 24th. But he has, and on Groundhog's Day, Philip Seymour Hoffman died. This guy was also a part of the Ghostbusters. I just find it odd. Also, I can almost take his name and spell Horus. H-O-R S. We're just missing the U, but you could replace the U with the I. And I just showed you how we can translate Nimrod and Horus all together. I don't know, I just find that odd. Maybe it's just a huge coincidence. Right here, this can show us a lot. The story behind her, I'm not 100% sure on because I know this could be water and Ba, the bird, but I'm not 100% sure on what they're telling us here. So if you guys want to help me out, that would be great. Katy Perry is representing a multitude of goddesses, and I say goddesses because I'm going to introduce a third one to you, which is the Sumerian goddess. She has her right eye open, which is the sun, and the left eye out, which is the moon. She has this winged scarab. The scarab was known as the dung beetle, and it rolled dung, but they thought that the scarab also helped to roll the sun across the sky. The same way, we'll see it here represented in a second. The thing I want to show here is the fact that she has the cobra on her head. The cobra is about to strike, and it is in the shape of a heart. What do we think of with the heart? We think of love. Well, introducing your third goddess, and her name is Inanna. Inanna, goddess of love, fertility, warfare. Inanna can be considered the most prominent female deity of ancient Mesopotamia. Inanna's name derives from Queen of Heaven. Inanna's symbol is an 8-pointed star or a rosette. She was associated with lions, even then a symbol of power, and then was frequently depicted standing on the backs of 2 lionesses. Inanna as the star Venus. Inanna was associated with the celestial planet Venus. Who else was associated with the celestial planet of Venus? Considering the goddess planet Venus, Semiramis, queen of Babylon. See how these are all interconnected. There's a backstory behind this with the Sumerians and why the souls were stolen. Mainly because the original creator, Anu, created man and then said, whoa, wait a second, this is not right. Hence the stories of us being wiped out multiple times. Why have we been wiped out multiple times? Mainly because of the sheer fact that I believe...
All right, seems like this guy is promoting a lot of gap theory stuff, so I'm going to have to be pausing stuff when he's talking about this. Okay, we were not wiped out multiple times. We've been wiped out once as humanity. If he's talking about humanity being wiped out, that has only happened once according to the scriptures, Yahuah's word. Yeah. Okay? We got wiped out during the days of Noah, okay? It never happened before that, and it's never happened after that. So I'm sorry, he's incorrect. I like a lot of what he's bringing up, but he's incorrect with the creation story.
It's in Anna because of her being a consort of Anu, aka a wife, and Anna represents love. That's why you have the heart on Katy Perry's head. Well, and Anna keeps stealing the genetics and creating copies. That's where we see in that Super Bowl commercial that I broke down, the guy kicking the world and the lady replacing it with a new one. Basically running around in time and space creating copies.
So programming of cloning.
We kind of explain the backstory of the Sumerians, which I believe all goes back to Inanna being the one who has stolen the souls. But let's go with Isis. Isis was a great magician and famous for the use of her magical skills. For example, she created the first cobra, hence why the cobra is on Katy Perry's head, and used its venomous bite to coerce Ray into revealing his secret name. She was the beneficial goddess and mother whose love encompassed every living creature. So for the benefit of less confusion, let's talk of her as being Isis. Isis is depicted as a woman wearing a vulture headdress and the solar disk between a pair of horns. This next screenshot shows a solar disk between the two snakes, which could also represent the horns. So this here is a representation of Isis, which can also be Inanna or Semiramis, same person as the sun is rising. This here is representing the Middle East. We see the horns with the disc in the middle made out of snakes. We see Israel right here being presented as the sun is rising, and it has a lot more back meaning to it, but I'm going to leave it at that. Next, we see her being presented with the diamond. This is more on a molecular level with how human beings were created, but it's being presented to her. She takes the eye of Horus, which is the moon eye, and she looks at it and she is very pleased with it. Next thing we know, we see her standing up, the rise. They are watching the event as it unfolds. She takes the diamond and steals it and then has electricity or lightning come out of the eyes, who is known as the fallen one, fell like lightning, that would be Satan, destroys this man who was presenting the molecular level type stuff to her. This represents the lust that she has for it now because of what she's seen. Inanna, the one that I say stole everything, represents lust along with love or fertility, the queen of heaven. This is where the Sumerians talk about a great divorce. She's licking her lips. She destroys the man, which takes out his right eye, which is the sun, and the moon is left as he is being demolecularized. She's happy with this, and the female picks up what was left as the jewels. She takes the jewels that are being presented to her by the female cats, and we'll talk about the cats here in a second, and puts them in her mouth. Next shot, we see her being a part of all of this, which is the
Little quick explanation. That's Horus right there. Okay, so the owl head guy, Horus, that's a graven image of what they depict Horus as.
genetic breeding, where they crossed animal with humans and got these type of beings. Even in the Bible, they talk about the men with lion heads, but she is being shown as the snake in the garden, aka the devil. Next, you see the jewels in her mouth. She is saying she is the one that spoke it, that created this. She's taken everything and created it. Next thing we see is the sun is all the way up. The sun has risen. Israel is back down. The sun is right up here, lighting everything up. We have the cats in praise as she's being taken down the river. They bring in, I'm not sure what that pyramid is made out of, but a lot of food. She says, one chance. And this large man comes in with the fire behind him. Here he presents her with some hot, what looks to be almost like Cheetos, and he has the golden cup in his hand. Goes back to her as a close-up with the snake being wrapped around her hair, which a lot of times they would do this with people's skulls to try to imitate the gods or the Anunnaki. She takes a bite of the hot stuff, which is represented as fire, because as he walks in, this is the fire. He laughs about it with the gold cup. He's got his half crescent moon with the circle in the middle, which is once again the Middle East, or we could say the bull with the horn and the sun in the middle, sun disk. All of a sudden she's blue and gold, which means water, which is the combining of the fire and the water. The diamond has a lot to do with that also on the molecular level. She says it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. He doesn't have anything to drink and pour into the cup. So what does she do? She gets angry and she destroys him once again with the sun being disappeared and the left eye being left for the moon. And he turns into the cup. So we have the fire and the water being put together to create us. They bring the water to her to quench her thirst. Now these cats, let's talk about these cats while we're here. You see 4 cats and she is the 5th. Cats, known in ancient Egypt as Ma, were important in ancient Egypt society, praised for controlling vermin and its ability to kill snakes, such as cobras. They earn their place in towns and cities by killing mice, venomous snakes, and other pests. That's kind of odd because now they're protecting her, which is the cobra. So what we see here is now the cats are protecting the snake. How does this work? So we see a complete reversal here because of the cats protecting the snake. She quenches her thirst. We see her taking a drink of the water from the purple, silver, and gold cup, which is the royalty, the stolen cup. We have red and white once again being represented, Turkey, with these guys on the back, and what they're doing is they're giving her a pimpin' ride. Next thing you know, we see the story of the pharaoh being dead. She uses her magic and Juicy J pops out being risen again. The first thing he says is she's a beast. Bull with the horns tries to show it off. Next thing you know, we see him being turned into the scarabs, the dung beetles. Juicy J with all his gold, he's come back. The mixing of the breeds with the alligator and the human, it scares her, so she turns him into a purse of some sort. I'm not sure what this is representing. Maybe you guys can help me out, but it looks like it's got a talon in the red clay or dust or ashes. This is kind of strange because we then see her on a stripper pole representing these shoes, which are green, white, and gold. Then we see a puppy come in, a dog. I'm not sure why this breed is specific, but I'm pretty sure it's a pure breed dog. Runs up to the throne that has been taken away illegally, and the cats, which originally were seen as vermin and snake killers are now guarding and scares the dog away. Next present that's represented is a golden pyramid with a pink top. Katy Perry comes up with all her color and majesty and rises up, and she spreads her wings. This is why the Sumerians called her Satan, because Satan fell. And the winged one, like lightning, with all the colors and beautiful. I mean, this is beautiful. Next thing we know, the pyramid splits apart and creates a vortex and rises above the ground, aka the rapture. She comes to rescue everybody with the spaceship. This is literally the last thing we see, is this guy being turned into half dog, half man. The cross is represented here, but I was thinking the word dog can be reversed and changed into God. So are they saying that Satan stole everything, is on top of the pyramid, parading around like God, and has changed everybody's attitude towards the true God as if he was a dog? Let me know what you guys think on that one, but that's just a question I had. Also, if you'd like, you can join us at the Mechanic Shop members. As you can see, we've only got 8 people.
All right, so you basically get the gist of it. So there's a lot of symbology in that video. Okay, you got this secular artist, Katy Perry, which, by the way, she's admitted before in interviews that she was originally a Christian. And then she ended up selling her soul because she couldn't make it as a Christian artist and she wouldn't get signed to a label. So she sold her soul to the devil, in her own words. So this same woman is dressing up as the Egyptian goddess, which we covered before, Leviticus 18:3. Don't do like they do in Egypt. So should we be listening to music that is esteeming and magnifying pagan religions? That's something you should be asking yourself. Because I know I wouldn't be listening to something like this, because it's straight up esteeming a false deity. It's esteeming the wife of Nimrod. That's what this song is about. It's not about a horse. It might be called Dark Horse, but where's the horse? Okay, so you got to understand there's esoteric meanings to these songs. What you see on the outside in the lyrics is not even what it's really about. There's actually hidden meanings to the lyrics. So that's just one of the many videos I have to share. Some of these I'm going to have to give you guys in the description when we upload all the parts of this study today. I'm going to give the rest of these long videos in the description section for you to look for yourself. Like the Truth May Scare You series is like hours long. You're not going to be able to, we won't be able to fit that today. So we did The Secret of Lil Wayne, Katy Perry. We have Jay Sean left, and The Secret of Kanye. I think we'll do The Secret of Kanye since we're on the topic of Egyptology being promoted here. This is another video where Kanye West has a necklace of Horus around his neck. And the song is called Power. No one man should have that power. Have all this power, basically, he's saying in the song. So secrets are made to be found out with time. Let me make sure we have enough time for this, because it seems to never be warning me. Okay, I don't see any time going down. Okay, we should be fine. All right. As you see, the necklace. They're already showing the necklace here. So he's dressing himself almost like an Egyptian pharaoh with pillars on each side. Alright, so the guy's saying that the video starts off with a close-up of Kanye West with glow-in-the-dark eyes, as if he was illuminated from within. He stands between an infinite row of long columns like pillars, which represent wisdom and Masonic symbolism, like the Freemasons
The eyes sound like very much like gold
Yeah.
in the Stargate series.
Yeah, probably there's some connection to that. I know that last frame of the Katy Perry video had a connection to the Stargate with the pyramid being nothing more than like a spaceship.
Yeah.
Okay, so between the columns can be found, it says the pillars represent the entrance, the gateway to the world of the initiate. Behind the columns can be found the key to mysteries and the source of true power. This concept has been used for many cultures. So another reason it's dangerous to listen to this type of music is it's influenced by demonic entities. And even the music videos, okay? So you have entrance to a gateway. Sounds like a portal to me. So this is very demonically influenced, okay? So
all right, we're under 9 minutes, so
yeah, I think we're it's only a 5-minute video. All right.
Everybody we roll with some light-skinned girls and some Kelly rollers. In this white man world, we the ones chosen.
So that is a decoded video showing you what really is the hidden meaning of that psalm power. So it seems like Kanye West was trying to cry out for help, and it seems like he was trying to let people know of the elite. And this should be causing you to have some concern why anyone that's listening to this type of music, why these artists are crying out. They don't even want to be making this type of music anymore, half these artists. Okay, so this should really make you really rethink listening to some of this stuff, some of this garbage. Okay, these artists don't even want to be doing what they're doing. Okay, half of them have cried out. Chris Brown a couple years ago, he's a secular artist that said he's tired of serving the devil. Okay, in 2015 he made an Instagram post. If you're interested in seeing the Instagram post, I can copy and paste it on the video on our study. So but I mean, this should, hopefully you're starting to get an idea why this is a serious thing. This is very serious. You're entertaining demons by listening to this stuff. You're entertaining the devil. You're giving the devil a door into your life spiritually, while you're trying to keep the commandments. And it reminds me that Yahuah was getting mad with Yashrael when they were trying to keep the feast days, but they were living unrighteous lifestyles, and they were going through the motions trying to keep the feast days. And he said, your new moons have become a stench to me. I hate your new moons and Sabbaths, because they were trying to keep the appointed times, but they were living wicked lifestyles. They were living adulterous lifestyles and idolatrous lifestyles. So how can we be children of the Father? How can we be children of Yahuah and Yahusha if we are entertaining demons and we are allowing open doors? This is something that I've been really led to really drive home with all of our brothers and sisters that could be watching this. Just stop entertaining these demons. Stop leaving open doors that can easily be shut. Okay? There's plenty of music out there that edifies the Father. My sister Shoshana makes great music that edifies the Father and the Son. We have other brothers in the belief and sisters in the belief that make music. Okay, make their own music. Find music that edifies the Father and the Son. That's what I want to end with today. Because really, all the other videos we have are way too long to be playing anyway on this study. So I'll give them in the description and stuff like that. But for the most part, these other 3 videos, other than the Jay Sean one, these other 3 videos are like really long. They're a couple hours long each. So that's pretty much all I wanted to say. So hopefully this message was a baraka to our brothers and sisters in Yahuah Almighty and Yahusha Messiah. Hopefully this led you to start listening to worship music that edifies Yahuah and Yahusha.
I'd like to add one thing, that I used to write music commercially, and I stopped in 1995 and have written nothing but praise and worship ever since.
Yeah.
Just want to add that.
All right. Indeed. Hallelujah to that. Shalom, brothers and sisters. Have a great rest of your Shabbat. Shalom.
Shalom.